Okay, all right, guys, can we start the session? Am I audible to all of you? Is the voice loud and clear? Can you just confirm me? Yes, okay. So let's get started. Guys, any questions from the previous discussion or anything you want to discuss? I'll give you 5 minutes. We'll wait for some more participants to join. So we can wait for a few minutes and then we will proceed. Let me stop this recording, guys, and then we can discuss one by one. I'll unmute one by one. Okay. Okay, so we will start now. Guys, we are going to discuss this topic, decision making under, uncertainty. So we have discussed similar type of situations before also. So here I'll be going faster. And the reason for that is because we have the structure. We have already discussed about the structure and you understood the structure and how I am going to proceed and everything you know now. So I told you, right, though we are going to take 50 sessions for this mentoring program, with the 25 session itself, we have completed the different structures that you need to understand. So with the discussions that we already had, that itself covers everything. Now we are again refining. So what we can do is we don't want to waste too much of time, and we can actually go faster, and you can we can spend more time in one-to-one sessions. So today we will be focusing on handling questions related to decision making under uncertainty. We have discussed a similar one, decision making under crisis situation. So crisis situation means very emergency. Here there is some small change, that's it, but everything else remains the same. It is an uncertainty. And as a civil servant, you'll often face situations where you need to make decisions with limited or conflicting information. Okay, so there is a difference from crisis situation and here. Here there is a conflicting information which you got. There is some kind of uncertainty which is prevailing. Okay, so it could be during crisis also. So okay, that's a catch here. That's why I'm continuing it from the previous session. So in policy making, it can be, or when managing the public resources also. So the ability to think critically and manage risk is essential when dealing with uncertainties. So that's exactly what they're actually going to check. And in my interviews also, I was asked how I would handle situations where the information was incomplete or the outcome is unpredictable. This is what I mean by uncertainty. You got some random information or incomplete information or unpredictable outcomes in that situations. So it's very important to show that you can remain calm, think logically, and make decisions based on the best available data while managing the risk involved. So these are things that they are actually looking at. So let's get started and let's try to understand more about this. Now coming to the key principles, this is how we normally follow. Right, so decision making under uncertainty requires some specific set of skills that help you to navigate through, these kind of situations effectively. First is risk assessment, right? So the first step in making decisions under uncertainty is assessing the risk involved. And this involves considering both the potential negative and positive outcomes of different choices which are available to you. And you need to weigh them and you need to understand the consequences of each of them. Next is actually related to gathering the relevant information. Already uncertainty is there, already incomplete information is there. Now you need to gather the relevant information. See, even when the information is limited. Okay, so it's very important to gather as much as relevant data as possible before you make any decision. Okay, so these points need to come to you automatically when you're answering the question. And this could include, consulting experts, that I'll be consulting an expert, or analyzing the historical data. I'll look at the historical data or the past experiences, or seeking input from the stakeholders. So I'll consult with the stakeholders and I'll get the input from them. So can you tell all these? That's what you need to think about. So the words, the points that I'm giving to you, I'm expecting that you're writing down. I know that you're doing it, you're very serious, but still I'm telling these things, you won't get it even after reading, tens and, 50 books also. So crux is what I'm giving to you. So without putting too much of effort, just by sitting for this 1 hour, 1.5 hour discussion every day, 50 days and 75 hours you're spending, it's worth, make it worth. Okay, now structured decision making process. So here you are going to use a structured approach. That's exactly what I'm going to give you. And, such as weighing the pros and cons, creating decision trees. I'll talk about that, and help that will actually help to ensure your decisions are well reasoned and based on logic rather than instinct. Your decisions should be based on rational, values, and then logic rather than based on mere instinct or common sense. Okay, sometimes common sense is required, but that's not what I'm talking about. Now, maintaining flexibility. See, we are talking about which situation? Uncertain situations. What is more important? Flexibility. So things can change quickly, right? So it's very important to remain flexible and willing to adapt to your decisions as new information becomes available. So you may be able to change also. Okay, you may need to adapt to the new situation. So if I want to give you an example, suppose you are asked how you will make decision during a pandemic with conflicting information about public health guidelines. So pandemic, conflicting information is available. So what you can say, follow the same. Okay, so I can say, first I will assess the risk of different courses of action, such as imposing a lockdown or continuing with normal activities. So you are going for risk assessment. Then I will say, I will gather relevant information from public health experts and study the available data on infection rates and healthcare capacity. That means I'm talking about experts and getting the past details or gathering relevant information. And then what I can say, I would then use structured approach to weigh the pros and cons of each of these options which are available, and taking into account the potential economic and social impact also. So here is where the structured decision making comes. And finally, what I can say, I would remain flexible, and I'm also willing to adjust my decision as new data emerges. That means I'm flexible to change because things are uncertain and I don't have complete information or details. So again, if you look at the law enforcement perspective, in the context of law enforcement, decision making under uncertainty might involve handling a potentially volatile, violent situations where it's unclear whether a threat is real or not. Right, you might have got a threat call, but you don't know whether it is real or not. So as an IPS officer, you would need to assess the risk, gather as much as intelligence possible with that limited scope of time, and make a decision that balances public safety with minimizing the unnecessary use of force also. So let's try to structure your answer. You can see, identify the uncertainty, analyze the information, propose the decision, and always remain flexible. So these four things, just remember, we discussed it before also, so we will focus on that itself. Whenever you answer any questions, we need to have the structure. Why we are giving and following a structure? Because you won't go out of focus. That's the objective, because the interviewer is not asking you for the answer of that question. He's trying to check certain qualities by asking a question. So irrespective of whatever is the question, by following the structure, we are demonstrating that qualities that you have. So here also, we are actually doing the same. Okay, so in answering questions about decision making under uncertainty also, we need to follow that structure, and you need to give a logical answer and well-reasoned decision, even though you have incomplete information. So what we need to do, identify the uncertainty or the risk first. So start by defining the uncertainty in the situation. That means you are setting the context now. Now everything should come from that. Now you are going to decide. They've already given a situation. Now you're setting the context, and now you are going to bring them to your track. So then you need to tell that what are the unknowns, what are the risks, okay, what is the uncertainty. For example, you might not have enough information about the long-term economic impact of a decision or the reliability of certain data, etc. Right? So now next step is analyzing the available information. So then you can explain, see, this is the structure. Depends on the question, you can fit in. You need to tell that how you would gather relevant data to inform your decision, right? And this could include consulting experts, reviewing historical data, or seeking input from stakeholders. All these are options which are available. Propose decision. See, after analyzing the information, propose a course of action and explain why you chose that particular option and how it balances the risk and benefits. So you can do this, and then always remain flexible, and emphasize the importance of flexibility. You should remain open to adjust your decision of any uncertain situation, because information is incomplete. So any new information you get, you need to be in a position to adapt, and you need to balance that. And the circumstances also may change, so your decision also need to change based on the circumstances. For example, let's say, yeah, you're asked how you will manage a situation where conflicting reports about an environmental hazard are coming. So here, what is the uncertainty? You're getting conflicting reports, uncertain, related to some environmental hazard. So what is the uncertainty in this situation? It is because of conflicting reports about the severity of the hazard. So you identify that uncertainty first. And then what I need to do to address this, I will consult who? Experts or historical data. Remember, that's how it is going to help you, right? So here, what I'll do, I will consult environmental experts and analyze the available data on air and water quality, air and water quality in the area. Available data, I'll check. So that's the second step. And based on the information which I gather, I would propose immediate safety measures, such as evacuating the most affected areas. And also, I'll conduct further assessments to confirm the severity of the hazard. So you propose a decision, and I would also remain flexible. You need to change the tone in each sentence also. And I would also remain flexible and ready to adjust the safety measures based on new information as it becomes available to me. So you're showing that you're flexible also. Perfect or not? Now, if you are listening to this, what do you feel? This person know the game? Yes or no? And this is a person that we are looking for. Yes or no? So what did you do here? You just followed a structure that this is what they are looking for. Simple. So it's not about being good, or it's not about knowing everything. It's all about acting good, and it's all about acting as if you know everything. Okay. In one of my interview, I was asked how I will handle a situation or decision about whether a shutdown of a public event due to conflicting security reports. Not to me, actually, to my friend. And I just told you for, uh, the one which I have faced, I already discussed, right? So in the previous slide, I've discussed. So here, this is actually the one which related to public event, which was asked to one of my friend. And I have referred his name also before. His name is Anil. And he, see, how will you explain? You think about it. You put that in, this in your, you think that, this question is asked to you. What is the question? How you will handle a decision about whether to shut down a public event due to conflicting security reports. That means you got a conflicting security report. Not sure, there can be issue, there can be threat to people, etc. But there is a public event. So whether you need to shut down or not. So think about it and let me know. I'll give you a broad framework, one liner, develop on that. So what he said, I'll tell you. So he explained that he will assess the reliability of the intelligence, consult with security experts, and make decisions that prioritize public safety while keeping options open for future adjustments. Did I mention all the four in one single line? Yes or no? I will assess the reliability of intelligence, consult with security expert, make decision that prioritize the public safety, and I'll also keep options open for future adjustments. All the four are there, right? Let's move on to an example in public law enforcement. In law enforcement, decision making under uncertainty is a very common occurrence, especially dealing with when you're dealing with security threats, public safety issues, evolving criminal activities, etc. So these are the things that you can focus on, right? So responding to evolving security threats. So what you can do, you see, in situations where a security threat is evolving, such as potential terrorist attack or a volatile protest, law enforcement officers must assess the risk based on limited information and make decisions that protect the public safety. That's the first priority. Now, coming to managing unpredictable events. Public events or large gatherings can become unpredictable, and law enforcement officers need to make decisions about crowd control, resource allocation, and public safety without always having full information about potential risk. Correct. And then when it comes to handling unreliable intelligence, in many cases, intelligence about a threat may be incomplete or unreliable. So, law enforcement officers must evaluate the credibility of the information and make decisions about how to respond, balancing the need for precaution with the risk of overreaction. For example, let's say you are asked how you're going to manage a situation where intelligence suggests a potential threat at a public event. So you got an intelligence report that there is a threat during this large gathering or the public event, but the information is incomplete. There is a threat which you got information, but it is incomplete, but it's a larger public event, and what you're going to do. So what you can say, think about it for a moment, or you can comment also. See, the uncertainty in this situation arises from the lack of reliable intelligence about the potential threat. Yes or no? So first is understanding or identifying the uncertainty. Here, you got the intelligence, but it is not complete. That's where the issues come in. Now, then what you can do is, you will say, I'm giving this answer from your perspective. So I will consult with intelligence agencies and security experts to assess the credibility of the information and analyze any available data about previous threats at similar events. So what I'm trying to do here, analyzing data, historic data, and or consulting with experts. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, based on the analysis which I have done, I would propose an increasing security measures at the event, such as deploying additional personnel and monitoring high risk areas, while ensuring that public is not unnecessarily alarmed. So you're proposing a decision. And then I would also remain flexible and ready to adjust security measures if more reliable intelligence become available. That's again a very, very important point that shows your flexibility, your adaptability, and your willingness to make changes on your decision as and when it is required. Again, to one of my friend, he was asked how he will handle a potential terrorist threat based on unverified intelligence. So here, unverified intelligence and the terrorist threat. So he explained that he will assess the reliability of the intelligence, or if you are answering, what you'll say, I will assess the reliability of the intelligence. I'll consult with counterterrorism experts, and I'll make a decision to increase security measures while monitoring the situations closely. Elaborate on it. Okay, just giving one liner for to make more understanding. Let's move on to general governance again. See, again, very important in general governance also, you follow the same procedure or the structure. Decision making under uncertainty often involves situations where data is incomplete, the market conditions are unpredictable, or long-term outcomes are difficult to predict. So these kind of challenges, right? So let's start with the first one, policy decisions with incomplete data. When making policy decisions, civil servants may not always have complete data about the potential outcomes. So in these cases, it's important to gather as much as information as possible, consult experts, and make decisions that balance the risk with potential benefits. Okay, moving on to economic planning with unpredictable market conditions. See guys, economic decisions such as budget allocation or investment in infrastructure, these are often made under uncertain market conditions. So the leaders must understand and weigh the risk of economic downturns or volatility against the potential long-term benefits of their decision in these cases. Now coming to public health decisions, especially during pandemic. See, public health crises such as pandemics, in that situation, it often involves making a lot of decisions with limited information about how the disease will spread or how effective certain interventions or it can be, right? So civil servants must take decisions that protect public health while remaining flexible enough to adjust as as and when you get new informations. For example, so I think this is a folk seventh example that I'm giving in this lecture itself. So like this, I think I've given at least 8 to 10 examples every session. So close to 400 examples you're getting, 400 situations you're getting. That itself is enough, right? So if you're asked how you make an economic decision during a period of market volatility, what you can say? The uncertainty in this situation comes from unpredictable market condition, which could affect the outcome of budget allocation or infrastructure projects. So to manage this, I would consult with economists and market analysts to gather data on potential economic trends. So based on this analysis, I will propose a decision that prioritizes essential infrastructure projects while delaying non-urgent projects until market conditions stabilize. And I would remain flexible and willing to adjust the budget if market conditions improve or worsen. So, see, one more case which has been asked to one of my friend. I'll throw it to you. He was asked how he will manage a public health decision during a disease outbreak where data on transmission rate was incomplete. Okay, so what you can do? You can explain that, you will consult a public health expert, common, right? And you will analyze the available data, common, yes or no? Do you have to face any problem here? Irrespective of the question, are you saying the same? And make a decision to implement the preventive measures while remaining open to adjusting the approach as more information becomes available. So if you're not getting anything specific to tell, let's use this. What you're going to say, you will explain that you will consult dash expert. Depends on the question, you fill the dash. I'll consult terrorist related experts, or I'll consult environmental experts, or I'll consult public health experts, or I'll consult education experts. I'll analyze the available data and past records. I'll make decision to implement the preventive measures while remaining open to adjusting and the approach as more information becomes available. I'll give you one more example, that is personal example. Follow the same. Okay. See, in one of the interview, I forgot what I wanted to discuss here. Yeah, I was asked how I will handle a decision about whether to implement a new government policy with incomplete data or its long-term impact. Incomplete data on its long-term impact. You got a government policy. I think I've discussed this before in a different context also. So you have an income, you have a government policy to implement, but the data on its long-term impact is incomplete or not enough research or anything is done on that. So how you are going to take a decision to implement? So what you can say? I began by assessing the situation. Same, explaining that the uncertainty arose from the lack of reliable data on how the policy would affect marginalized community. Talk about marginalized community because it's a policy maker decision. And then I discuss how I would gather relevant information by consulting experts. Talk about consultation of experts. Talk about, you can say, I'll review the historical data from similar policies and seeking input from community leaders, right? And then you can propose a decision to implement the policy on a trial basis in certain regions with provisions for regular monitoring and adjustments based on the feedback. So on a trial version, you will run not everywhere in certain regions. And finally, you can emphasize the importance of remaining flexible, explain that I will review the policy's impact regularly and be willing to modify or expand it based on the result of the trial phase which has been conducted. So that's about this session. Now let's conclude. So I hope you understood the structure, guys. Simply follow this. Assess situation, gather information, propose decision, and remain flexible. Simple. Okay. So guys, decision making under uncertainty requires what abilities you need to have the capacity, what they're checking. That's what we are discussing here actually. Are you able to assess the risk? Are you able to gather relevant information? Are you able to make informed, well-reasoned decisions or choices? And even when the outcome is unpredictable. And are you willing to change or adapt? Whether you're managing a public health crisis or making an economic decision or handling a security threat, it's very important to remain flexible and open to adjust your decisions as and when new information comes to you. So what do you need to do now? Practice it. Take a situation, make your answer, and record the video, send to me. Right. Okay. So that's it, guys, and we can discuss now. I'll unmute one by one. One of you can, go for a quick recap of what we have done, and then we'll go for Q&A also. Let me stop the recording.